Nobody saw this coming, and if you think you did, congratulations, you're lying harder than that so-called lie detector. Because the second Karlissa decided to speak, the internet didn't just react, it malfunctioned. This wasn't a casual rant or a messy livestream moment. This was a calculated verbal explosion dressed up as setting the record. Straight, the kind that turns timelines into crime scenes and comment sections into courtrooms. What started as a harmless Blueface lie detector clip, something people expected to laugh at and forget, suddenly felt like the opening scene of a scandal nobody rehearsed for. Angela sat there confident, answers rolling out smooth, machine beeping like it knew the truth. But something felt off. Too polished, too rehearsed, like honesty wearing a costume. Then Karlissa went off, not loud, not sloppy, but precise. Every word landed like it had been waiting months for permission. No yelling, no chasing clout, just a calm dismantling of the entire performance. And once she cracked the foundation, everything built on it started wobbling. That lie detector stopped looking like science and started looking like a prop. And just when everyone thought this was a one-on-one situation, chaos widened its arms. Christian caught a stray that felt intentional without ever being named as an attack. nevaeh got pulled into the orbit with nothing but implication and silence following behind. No accusations screamed, just context whispered. And whispered context hits harder than shouting. This stopped feeling like reality TV and started feeling better written than half of Netflix. Messier than a celebrity divorce. More dramatic than a leaked group chat at 3 a.m. Someone lied, someone panicked, and Karlissa decided today was the day truth got loud. If this makes the Kardashians look boring, buckle up, because this story doesn't slow down. It spirals. Once Karlissa's words hit the timeline, the internet did what it always does when uncertainty smells like blood. It turned into a courtroom with no judge and unlimited opinions. People weren't watching anymore. They were analyzing, pausing clips, zooming expressions, replaying answers like they were encrypted messages. The lie detector clip stopped being content and started being evidence. Memes arrived first because humor is how the internet processes discomfort. Someone edited the machine to look like a toy pulled from a cereal box. Another compared it to those carnival games where everyone wins if the operator likes you. Laughter masked suspicion, but suspicion was definitely there. And once jokes start circling truth, belief starts slipping. That's how credibility quietly bleeds out. Then came the reactions that weren't reactions. People who usually comment on everything suddenly discovered silence. Likes without captions. Stories with vague quotes about truth and timing, no names mentioned. But everyone knew exactly who the messages were aimed at. Subtlety became strategy, and strategy confirmed something was wrong. Angela's response finally surfaced, but it felt off, not late enough to look careless, but not fast enough to look confident. Defensive without clarity. Explaining everything except the part people were questioning. It read less like truth and more like damage control typed under pressure. And pressure has a tone. The internet hears it immediately. Meanwhile, Christian's name kept floating back into the conversation like unfinished business. Fans rushed to protect, but protection sounded emotional instead of factual. Old moments resurfaced that people had laughed off before. Patterns once ignored suddenly felt louder. Nobody accused, they remembered. And memory is harder to argue with than rumors. nevaeh's situation turned even stranger. She wasn't front and center, yet her name refused to disappear. Not because of anything said directly, but because context connected dots quietly. People don't need confirmation to speculate. They just need proximity and silence. And silence was doing more damage than words ever could. At this point, the lie detector machine had fully lost its authority. Nobody cared how it worked anymore. It became symbolic, a prop in a bigger performance about who gets believed and why. Karlissa never returned to argue details. She didn't have to. The narrative was unraveling on its own. This is where the story turned cinematic. Not loud chaos, slow tension. Every hour without a clear response made the questions heavier. Every vague post added fuel instead of relief. People stopped asking who lied and started asking who's hiding. That's a dangerous shift. Influencers and commentators jumped in, framing it as a culture moment. Some called it manipulation. Others called it clout theater. A few compared it to reality TV that forgot it was being watched by real people. The comparisons got wilder, but the underlying doubt stayed consistent. Something wasn't sitting right. Karlissa remained mostly quiet, and that silence felt intentional. Like someone who already dropped the match and stepped back. She didn't need to clarify or defend. The internet was doing the work for her. That's when people realized this wasn't a rant. It was a trigger. And it had already done its job. By now, public opinion wasn't unified, but it was unsettled. Trust hadn't disappeared, it fractured. And fractured trust never heals clean. People felt tricked for believing too easily. Others felt defensive for doubting too late. Either way, the comfort was gone. The conversation shifted from personalities to patterns, from one clip to a history of moments that suddenly aligned. And when a scandal evolves from gossip to pattern recognition, it stops being entertainment. It becomes a warning. And warnings don't fade quietly. As timelines refreshed and comment sections refreshed again, one thing became impossible to ignore. The aftermath didn't arrive loud, it arrived heavy. Like that uncomfortable silence after a truth lands and nobody knows who should speak first. The timeline slowed down, but the tension didn't. People weren't reacting anymore. They were reassessing. That's worse than backlash. Backlash fades, reassessment sticks. Angela didn't look destroyed, but she didn't look untouchable either. Her credibility didn't collapse, it cracked. And cracks are dangerous because they invite inspection. Every future statement suddenly felt like it needed footnotes. Every pause felt intentional instead of thoughtful. Once doubt enters the room, it never leaves quietly. Christian's image took a different kind of hit. Not from what Karlissa said, but from what resurfaced around it. Old moments people once excused started feeling louder. Patterns fans defended before now felt harder to ignore. It wasn't cancellation, it was reconsideration. And reconsideration rewrites legacies. nevaeh ended up caught in the worst position possible. Not accused, not defended, just mentioned. That gray area is brutal online. Because people don't debate innocence there, they speculate. Silence doesn't protect you in that space. It feeds the narrative instead. Karlissa, meanwhile, walked away clean. No victory lap. No follow-up rant. No clarification tour. That restraint spoke louder than any drag ever could. It felt like someone who said exactly what needed to be said and nothing more. That's when people realized this wasn't chaos, it was timing. Karlissa didn't respond to emotion. She responded to momentum. She waited until the lie felt comfortable enough to be believed. Then she interrupted it. That's not reaction, that's strategy. And strategy always scares people more than noise. The biggest consequence wasn't embarrassment, it was exposure. Exposure to how easily narratives get packaged and sold. How fast audiences trust visuals over context. How confidently people perform truth when they know the edit is friendly. The lie detector became a metaphor, not for lies, but for manufactured belief. Brands, platforms, and commentators quietly took notes. Nobody wanted to be associated with something that now felt questionable. Energy shifted. Invitations slowed. Support became quieter. That's how reputations change without announcements, and yet nothing actually felt finished. No full denials, no complete explanations, just enough distance for everyone to pretend it's over while staying alert. That's the most dangerous ending, the kind that promises a sequel, because scandals like this don't disappear, they hibernate. They wait for another clip, another comment, another slip of the tongue. And when it happens, everything from before comes rushing back. Receipts don't expire online. So where does that leave everyone? More cautious, more calculated, more aware that silence can be louder than shouting, and that once a narrative cracks, it never seals the same way again. The audience doesn't forget, it archives. This wasn't a lie detector scandal. It was a lesson about truth, timing, and who really controls the story. Karlissa didn't end the conversation. She redirected it. And now every future move will be watched differently. Because once people start questioning the performance, the show is never the same. If you made it this far, congratulations, you officially survived another internet scandal without throwing your phone. But don't sit there pretending this didn't hit different. Because you felt it. That pause. That side-eye moment. That wait a minute. Realization creeping in. Yeah, that's why you're still here. Now do what the internet pretends it doesn't do but absolutely lives for. Drop a comment. Say what everyone else is thinking but won't type. Who do you believe? Who fumbled the narrative? And who played chess while everyone else was playing checkers? The comment section is the real after party. And don't act shy with that like button. Smash it like it owes you money. Like it lied on a lie detector. Owes you money. Like it lied on a lie detector. Like it told you this is the last scandal and then refreshed your timeline. That like tells the algorithm we're not done exposing mess. We're just getting warmed up. And trust me, there's always more. If you're new here, welcome to the chaos. This is where viral stories get peeled back layer by layer. Where narratives don't get swallowed whole. Where silence gets questioned and truth gets side-eyed. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next clip, leak, or meltdown, because they drop fast and hit harder here. And turn on notifications, because scandals don't send calendar invites. They pop up unannounced, at inconvenient times, with inconvenient truths. And when they do, this is where we break them down with zero filters and maximum honesty. No PR spin allowed. Remember, the internet never forgets, receipts never expire, and performances always crack eventually. This story isn't over. It's just waiting for the next mistake. And when it drops, you already know where to be. Welcome to Fame Flaws, where the spotlight exposes everything, and the truth is never as clean as the edit.